Anyone familiar with the Jesus story can't help but to be fascinated by Jesus the miracle worker. Jesus the miracle worker is probably the part of the Jesus story that is the most unusual, that stands out for people. It's impressive, it's mysterious, these capabilities that he has. The more conscious that we become, the more, in a certain sense, powerful we become. It's not that we necessarily become miracle workers, but as our state of consciousness opens, as we begin to awaken, different capacities within us come online and may become available. They're not really as impressive as the miracles that Jesus can pull off, but they're often simple. The more aware we become, the more aware of the mysterious synchronicities of our life, the more that things seem to kind of line up. The more that we're in harmony in life, mysteriously, almost miraculously, life seems to come into harmony with us. And so there's that sense that everything is unfolding just as it needs to. Everything is, as it were, right on time. As we really begin to let go of trying to control life, hang on to life, force it in the direction that the ego wants it to go in, life has a way of literally responding to our state of consciousness. And that's a miracle. It's a miracle to even consider that as my state of consciousness transforms, that life's relationship with my state of consciousness transforms right along with me. For some people, that may seem quite an outlandish idea. But really, it's just part and parcel of becoming more conscious. We cannot actually separate ourselves from life. All the separating lines are illusory. You can't remove a human body from its environment. You can't remove the oxygen you breathe without dying. You can't remove yourself from the warmth of the sun. Without the warmth of the sun, we don't survive. And so it goes. Even on a rational level, we're very, very much connected. And that's part of what miracles have to show us. The more we recognize, the more conscious we become of that interconnectedness of all of life, that life itself starts to work with us in a more harmonious way. And that's a miracle. Life itself is a miracle. How does a human being produce a baby? That beautiful little being coming into life. That's a miracle. Our science is nowhere near able to produce even one human being. There's miracle after miracle in our lives that we don't notice. When we simply get focused on big, extravagant miracles, we become unconscious to the fact that life itself is a miracle. The mere fact that there's anything rather than nothing is an absolute miracle. So miracles are actually all around us. We just have to have the eyes to open up and see what's happening. The more we open to the reality of our own divinity, the more we start to perceive life as this miraculous event. And even though the miracles of our everyday lives may pass unnoticed by a mind that's obsessed with itself, miracles are there nonetheless. So it seems to me that a very intimate aspect of awakening is becoming aware of the daily miracle that we move through called life. And it seems to me that we can see the big miracles, the kind of miracles that we find Jesus undertaking. We can see those miracles as a way to draw our attention to the miracle of our own lives. I see the miracles depicted in the New Testament as being representative or metaphoric of deeper underlying realities. In other words, the miracles are themselves metaphors or teaching tools to hone our awareness so we begin to become conscious of things about life and ourselves that we usually aren't conscious of. To surrender into a radical letting go is a kind of death which allows us to wake up. But also to surrender back into life and back into your humanness is also a kind of death. It's a kind of surrender. And it brings with it a kind of redeeming quality. There's a sense of being restored to your natural condition, not because you've left your humanity, but because Spirit has completely embraced it. This is the gift, I think, of the whole story. This is what sets it. This is where its uniqueness as a spiritual and religious story really shines, where it is the descent of Spirit into the world of time and space. Whereas other stories are the awakening of Spirit from time to the eternal. This is the eternal descending into time. They're two different kind of spiritual movements, which doesn't mean they can't occur at the same time. They actually can, strangely as it may seem. But they're two different qualities. And when you wake up, it tends to take you into emptiness. Yes, it's extremely full emptiness, but it's an emptiness nonetheless. The emptiness of pure consciousness. When you experience a kind of redemption that this story is talking about, it's a kind of awakening. But it's, as I said, it is the eternal awakening in form. In your humanity. Actually, I'm sure you can see in some way that these themes play out within every human being's life, in either great or small ways. This story is giving voice to our divinity. And finding the divinity not just outside of humanity in the great unborn space of emptiness, but finding the divinity right in the world of form and through a complete embrace of life as it actually is. So to do this, you're embracing everything that it is to exist, which is the difficulty of it too, which is the triumph and the tragedy of it. It is not a movement of seeking to avoid it. It's not a transcendent movement necessarily. Strange thing is, when you completely and absolutely embrace it with sort of an immense cosmic yes, strangely you're not, you experience life with a kind of buoyancy and joy and peacefulness that is generally unknown. It's a way of finding freedom and liberation both beyond life in the timeless realm and also in life, in the midst of birth, sickness, old age, and death, as the Buddhists would say.